Welcome to CannaInsights, where we explore the scientific evidence behind cannabis and cannabinoids through rigorous examination of peer-reviewed research. Today we're examining one of the most compelling questions in modern psychiatric research: can cannabidiol, or CBD, the non-psychoactive compound from cannabis, sativa, serve as an effective treatment for psychosis and schizophrenia? This question is not merely academic. Schizophrenia affects approximately 1% of the global population, making it a significant public health concern. While current antipsychotic medications can address some symptoms, particularly hallucinations and delusions, they frequently come with severe adverse effects, including substantial weight gain, metabolic syndrome, and extrapyramidal symptoms such as Parkinsonism and tremors. The search for safer, more effective alternatives has led researchers to investigate CBD as a potential therapeutic agent. Over the past 15 years, 5 landmark clinical trials have fundamentally altered our understanding of CBD's role in treating psychotic disorders. These studies have revealed a complex picture, one where dosage matters profoundly, patient populations respond differently, and unexpected interactions can occur. Today, we will examine each of these trials in detail, discussing their methodologies, their findings, and their implications for the future of psychiatric treatment. Let us begin our scientific journey. The foundation of CBD research in psychosis was laid in 2009 by a team led by Zwardi and colleagues at King's College London in the United Kingdom. This research was critical because before we could consider CBD as an antipsychotic treatment, we needed to establish whether it was fundamentally safe for patients experiencing psychotic symptoms. The researchers conducted a 12-week randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled trial involving 60 participants with Parkinson's disease who were experiencing psychotic symptoms. This patient population was particularly important because individuals with Parkinson's disease already suffer from significant motor impairments, and traditional antipsychotics are notorious for worsening these movement problems through extrapyramidal side effects. The results were highly encouraging. CBD demonstrated effectiveness in reducing psychotic symptoms, as measured by the brief psychiatric rating scale and the Parkinson Psychosis questionnaire. Most importantly, CBD achieved these therapeutic effects without causing any worsening of motor function. Patients tolerated the treatment well, with minimal adverse effects reported. The educational significance of this trial cannot be overstated. It provided the first robust clinical evidence that CBD could effectively treat psychotic symptoms, while maintaining a favorable safety profile, particularly the absence of those debilitating movement disorders that plague conventional antipsychotic medications. This study essentially opened the door for researchers to investigate CBD in other psychotic conditions, including schizophrenia itself. The second pivotal study was even more ambitious. Researchers led by Luecke and colleagues at the University of Heidelberg in Germany conducted an exploratory, double-blind, active-controlled, randomized clinical trial that directly compared CBD to amisulpride, an established antipsychotic medication. Initial findings were reported in 2012, with a comprehensive analysis of cognitive outcomes published in 2021. This study involved 42 acutely ill, unmedicated inpatients with schizophrenia over a 4-week treatment period. Participants received either CBD at doses up to 800 milligrams per day or amisulpride at 800 milligrams per day as monotherapy, meaning these medications were given alone without any other antipsychotic drugs. The results were remarkable. CBD demonstrated comparable efficacy to amisulpride in reducing psychotic symptoms. By day 28, the CBD group showed a mean reduction in positive and negative syndrome scale, total scores of negative 30.5, nearly identical to the amisulpride group's reduction of negative 30.1. However, the tolerability profile strongly favored CBD. Patients receiving CBD experienced significantly fewer extrapyramidal symptoms, less weight gain, and lower prolactin elevation compared to those receiving amisulpride. Furthermore, the 2021 cognitive analysis revealed that both treatments improved visual memory and processing speed, indicating that CBD's benefits extended beyond symptom reduction to cognitive enhancement. The implications of this study were profound. It demonstrated that CBD possesses genuine antipsychotic effects, comparable to a dopamine D2 receptor antagonist, which is the mechanism of action for most conventional antipsychotics. Yet CBD achieved these effects with a markedly superior side effect profile. This strongly suggested that CBD operates through an entirely different mechanism, potentially by enhancing anandamide signaling in the endocannabinoid system, rather than blocking dopamine receptors. This finding represented a paradigm shift in how we conceptualize antipsychotic treatment. After establishing CBD's efficacy as monotherapy, researchers turned their attention to its potential as an adjunctive treatment, meaning CBD used alongside existing antipsychotic medications. Two separate clinical trials, published in 2018, yielded contrasting results that would prove essential for understanding CBD's therapeutic window. The first study, conducted by Boggs and colleagues, was a 6-week randomized, placebo-controlled trial investigating adjunctive CBD at 600 milligrams daily in 36 medicated outpatients with chronic schizophrenia. These patients had a mean age of approximately 47 to 48 years and had been ill for many years. The results from this trial were neutral. The researchers found no significant difference in the reduction of positive and negative syndrome. Scale scores between the CBD and placebo groups across any subscale, total, general, positive, or negative symptoms. This null finding was scientifically valuable. It suggested two possibilities. Either 600 milligrams daily was an insufficient dose to produce therapeutic effects, when added to existing antipsychotics, or CBD, might be less effective in older, more chronically ill patient populations, whose illness had become more treatment-resistant over time. The second trial, conducted by McGuire and colleagues, provided a striking contrast. This was a larger, multi-center randomized, controlled trial involving 88 medicated outpatients with schizophrenia or related psychotic disorders. The critical difference was dosage. This study employed adjunctive CBD at 1,000 milligrams daily, administered as 500 milligrams twice daily for 6 weeks. The results were decidedly positive. The CBD group demonstrated a greater reduction in positive symptoms compared to placebo, specifically the Positive and Negative Syndrome Scale Positive Symptom Score decreased by 3.2 points in the CBD group compared to only 1.7 points in the placebo group. Additionally, patients receiving CBD were significantly more likely to be rated as clinically improved by their treating clinicians, according to the Clinical Global Impression Scale, with a mean difference of negative 0.5 on a 95% confidence interval. Importantly, CBD remained well tolerated with minimal adverse events reported, consistent with previous trials. The educational significance of these two contrasting studies from 2018 was clear. Dosage matters profoundly. 600 milligrams daily appeared insufficient for adjunctive treatment, while 1,000 milligrams daily produced meaningful clinical improvements in positive psychotic symptoms. This established a preliminary therapeutic dose range for future clinical applications. The most recent and perhaps most surprising development in CBD psychosis research came in 2025 from a team led by Chesney and colleagues at King's College London. This study investigated a clinically relevant but understudied scenario patients with schizophrenia, who also have cannabis use disorder. This comorbidity is unfortunately common. Many individuals with schizophrenia use cannabis recreationally, and there has been popular speculation that high CBD cannabis products might protect these vulnerable individuals from the psychosis-inducing effects of THC, the psychoactive compound in cannabis. The researchers conducted a randomized, double-blind, placebo-controlled, crossover trial with 30 participants who had schizophrenia or schizoaffective disorder, plus comorbid cannabis use disorder. Participants received either oral CBD at 1,000 milligrams or placebo as pre-treatment 3 hours before inhaling vaporized cannabis, containing 20 to 60 milligrams of THC. The hypothesis was that CBD pre-treatment would mitigate the acute, cognitive, and psychotic effects of inhaled cannabis. The results were the opposite of what was hypothesized, and they were striking. For the primary outcome, delayed verbal recall, CBD pre-treatment resulted in significantly worse performance. Participants recalled a mean of 3.5 words, with a 95% confidence interval of 2.5 to 4.5 after CBD pre-treatment, compared to 4.8 words with a confidence interval of 3.9 to 5.8 after placebo pre-treatment. The mean difference was negative 1 point. 3 words with a p-value of 0.001, indicating strong statistical significance for positive psychotic symptoms measured by the Positive and Negative Syndrome Scale. Positive subscale, cannabis inhalation following CBD pretreatment, was associated with a significantly greater increase in symptoms. The mean increase was 5.0 after CBD pretreatment compared to 2.9 after placebo, with a difference of 2.2 points on a 95% confidence, interval of 0.6 to 3.7, and a p-value of 0.01. Physiologically, CBD pretreatment was also associated with a greater increase in systolic blood pressure, with a mean difference of 11.2 millimeters of mercury and a p-value of 0.01. Pharmacokinetic analysis ruled out one potential explanation. CBD pretreatment did not significantly increase plasma exposure to THC, or its active metabolite, 11-hydroxy-THC. This indicated that the interaction was not due to altered THC absorption or metabolism. Furthermore, the area under the curve for plasma CBD levels showed a positive correlation with worsening of both delayed recall and positive symptoms, suggesting a dose-dependent relationship. The educational and clinical importance of this finding is immense. It directly refutes the notion that oral CBD protects vulnerable patients with schizophrenia and cannabis use disorder from the acute harms of THC. In fact, CBD appears to worsen both the memory impairment and the psychotic symptom exacerbation caused by THC in this specific population. This is likely due to complex pharmacodynamic effects within the altered endocannabinoid system of these patients. This study serves as a critical warning against recommending high CBD cannabis products for harm reduction in individuals with co-occurring psychotic disorders and cannabis use disorder. What helps in one clinical context may harm in another. These 5 studies, spanning from 2009 to 2025, paint a nuanced and scientifically rich portrait of CBD's role in treating psychotic disorders. From the foundational safety research of Zuardi and colleagues in 2009, which established CBD's efficacy and favorable tolerability in Parkinson's disease psychosis, to the groundbreaking monotherapy trial by Luike and colleagues reported between 2012 and 2021, demonstrating comparable efficacy to conventional antipsychotics with superior tolerability, CBD clearly possesses significant antipsychotic potential through a novel, non-dopaminergic mechanism. The adjunctive therapy trials of 2018, particularly the positive findings from Maguire and colleagues using 1,000 milligrams, daily reinforced CBD's promise as a supplementary treatment for positive symptoms when added to existing medications. The neutral findings from Boggs and colleagues at the lower dose of 600 milligrams daily provided crucial information about therapeutic dosing thresholds. However, the 2025 findings from Chesney and colleagues introduce an essential caveat that fundamentally changes how we must think about CBD in clinical practice. When used in patients with schizophrenia and comorbid cannabis use disorder, particularly as pre-treatment before THC exposure, CBD paradoxically worsens cognitive function and psychotic symptoms rather than protecting against them. This body of research teaches us that CBD is not a simple therapeutic agent with uniform effects across all contexts. Rather, it is a complex modulator whose effects depend critically on dosage, patient characteristics, disease chronicity, and particularly on interactions with other cannabinoids, the same compound that shows promise in treating baseline. Psychotic symptoms may produce harm when combined with THC in vulnerable populations. For clinicians, researchers, and patients, these findings emphasize the necessity of precision medicine approaches. We must carefully stratify patients, consider comorbidities, optimize dosing, and remain vigilant for unexpected interactions. The future of CBD and psychiatric treatment is promising, but requires careful, evidence-based implementation rather than broad, unqualified enthusiasm. Thank you for joining me on CannaInsights. If you found this scientific exploration valuable, please subscribe to our channel and share this episode with others interested in evidence-based cannabis science. Until next time, keep questioning, keep learning, and keep demanding rigorous evidence.